Hello, everybody. I thought I'd just spend a little bit of time streaming, working on quasarcast.com. Yeah, so I just thought that this could be a little bit of fun, a chance for me to sort of look back and see how I was doing over the years. So here we are. This is me working on the quasarcast.com site. So I'll probably just sort of talk to myself as I go. I don't know what's happening here with my linter. I just managed to get Veta working for the very first time, but now I'm getting these weird linting problems, so I don't really know what that's related to. Yeah, be curious to see what happens if I comment some of those out, but I don't want to spend too much time on this. Yeah, no, that's fine. Okay, so what am I going to work on today? I think I want to do validation for the registration. So this is my registration form. And it's just got some dummy data. It's filling in by default. And I'd like to have it do some validation before I press register. And then I think I'll handle some backend validation as well. In fact, it probably makes more sense to do the backend validation first. So let's see what happens if I leave something out. I'll probably just get like an error in the console. Yeah, here we go. Let's see if we get some feedback here. Awesome. So it's even giving us this beautiful object that we can deal with. So that shouldn't be too difficult. Let's have a look at the Quasar docs for error-related stuff. And usually what I'll do is I'll store like a variable called response errors, and if I've got them, I'll show them. Otherwise, I won't. So let's just go ahead and do that. Q, what is this? This is a Q input. Nice, and the team's got the new search thing working, which is kind of exciting. All right, so scrolling down here. Oh, am I on the right page? Note this is the color picker. Q input. Oh, I'll have to get used to this new searcher, and it might also improve with time. Yeah, input text field. Cool. All right, so let's figure out how we can do validation here. Might just search the word validation. And I think there's like an errors field. All right, so we've got rules. We're not actually going to use that yet because we're going to do our own custom validation because we want to handle back-end errors first, and then we'll do the front-end ones because I want to make this super robust validation. Maybe errors. Yeah, here we go. External validation. They even tell you what to do. Okay, so if we come down here, yeah, that's our error message. And then this is to check whether or not we've got an error. That's awesome. That just totally makes perfect sense. Right, so let's have a look at how we'll do this. Let's start by actually storing our errors when we first get them from the back end. And I'm using the old version of Quasar. I'll upgrade it very soon, but that's why I'm not using the composition API here. All right, so what are we doing here? We're fetching a CSRF token, and then we're handling registration. And we want to do a catch here to handle errors. So let's say .catch, and we'll say handle errors, this .handle errors, and let's put that in here, handle errors, or handle error. That probably makes a bit more sense. And we'll pull in the errors there, and let's just console.log error.data to begin with. All right, so coming back over here, I have to refresh the page. Oh, and of course, the first thing that I want to do there is say this dot loading, or is it submitting? What have I called that loading bar? Oh, it's sitting on a different page. So the first thing I want to do is make sure I say this dot emit error, and we'll send through the error for that, just so that the parent component knows what's going on. And now in the register button, let's come over here. So this is success. So we'll say at error, and we'll grab that error message. Okay, I hope you can't hear my dog snoring in the background there. It's very cute. And then we'll say this is submitting is equal to false. Yeah, so I like to have my submit button actually external to the register form itself, and then just basically dive into the form in order to do that, because sometimes I like to have my register button like in different places or displayed on different ways. Just gives me a little bit of extra flexibility. All right, so let's come back here and have a look at how things are. Let's try no email. Okay, sweet. So we get that error, and I think I was doing a console.log there, and I'm getting undefined. So let's just console.log the error for now and see what happens there. Refresh the page and try that again. Gosh, my dog is snoring so loud. 404. So weird. It's trying to send me to home. Okay, because it's saying that I'm already logged in, I believe. All right, so that's probably from some work that I did in the past. So let's come in here and delete both of these cookies. You're gone. You're gone. And then refresh the page again. And let's come into the data. And let's change the email just to nothing so we can develop a little bit more quickly here. It didn't work, so let's refresh the page. There we go. All right, 422, that's the kind of error that we want. And now what we want to do is we want to check if there's data here. I'm going to go all out with my errors. And if there is data, then we're going to set our error messages to that data. So if error.data, then we'll console.log the data just to see if that's working. Else, console.log error. I think it's status. I want to get the error status. Axios, handle error, handling errors. Actually, no, I just want to view the Axios page. Axios, JS, and let's see if we can figure out. Here we go, handling errors. The status in here. So there's the error, error.response. There we go. It is error.response.status. Oh, okay. So this should be error.response.data. But if otherwise we want to console.log the error.response.status. Okay. Because if we got a different status, I still want to have some sort of feedback that there was an error and let them know what the status code was. But if there's different fields, then we want to handle that. Yeah, if it gives us fields, we want to handle that. So let's see what happens now. Might have to do a refresh again. Data is not defined. Maybe the docs were wrong about that. Let's refresh the page. Well, actually, it's probably more likely that I was wrong about how I read it from the docs. I'm definitely getting data. Response. Maybe it's error.error.data. I remember this being like really weird. So let's come up here and console.log error.error, and I'm just going to smash through some different ways of doing this to figure it out. Sometimes you just got to brute force it. No. Actually, oh, because I'm logging the wrong thing here. Bet you saw that. Cool. Let's try that one more time. And we'll come in here. All right, I'm still getting undefined there. But it's saying that must be reading this totally wrong. Error.response. All right, so let's try and console.log error.response here. We'll try that again. All right, so it's error.response. I was just giving myself some false positives before. So now we can say if it's error.response.data, then we're going to log the data. Otherwise, log error.response.status. because we're going to deal with the status otherwise. So let's come in here. There we go. The given data was invalid, and then we can actually get the errors as well. So now let's say this dot errors is equal to error.response.data.errors. Ooh, bit of a mouthful. Otherwise, what I like to do is say this dot has non 422 errors. Okay, so basically, if we've got data in there, it's going to be a 422 error. If it's not a 422 error, then we are going to basically just spit out the error code, which means it's probably something that's wrong server side or some sort of problem in that sense. Oh, thank you, Metal. Oh wait, Metal Sad Man. There we go. That isn't actually so hard to say. Thank you. All right, so let's keep pushing on. All right, so now that means that we're going to have, we want to set that equal to true if this is the case. This is how I handle this problem. And then, so let's set that to false by default. And then we're going to have our errors object, which of course is going to be equal to nothing. In fact, maybe I should set that to null. I always feel weird setting it to null because if I expect it to be an object or to be something that has fields as an object, then I want it to be an object by default. Yeah, so let's leave it as an object by default. And now we should be able to come up here and let's just try it for the email field for now and say error. And how do we know if there's an error? Well, we can check first of all if we've got anything in error. So I might even be able to say object.keys. Whoop, what have I done there? Object.keys error and then say .length on that. So basically I'm checking if we've got any errors at all. You know what, this is probably better to have as a computed property. So we can just see if we have any errors. And we'll call this has errors. And then we'll return this dot errors. And we'll say object.keys this dot errors dot length. So we're basically saying, do we have any errors? And to do that, we check our errors data property. So there it is there. At the moment, it's empty. So we do not have any errors. And I like to do double exclamation mark just to make sure it's coerced to either true or false. All right, so let's come up here now and say, man, this lint is bugging me. If anybody knows how to deal with this, using Veta, let me know. Honestly, I couldn't be bothered right now. It's late at night and I really want to just get this done. All right, so we want to see if we have errors and we want to see if we have errors dot email dot length. Okay, so if we jump into our errors and to the email related errors, because that's the name of this field, it's the email field. If we have any email errors, then this is going to show up red. At least in theory. Let's see if it actually works. So I have to refresh the page. And I'm going to have to do some new styling now that we've got that extra space there. All right, it blows up, which is totally fine. Expected Boolean got number. That's weird. That should be a Boolean, shouldn't it? Type to chair for prop error. Expected Boolean got number with value 1. All right, let me think that through. We might need to coerce this. Oh, there we go. Looks like that worked. It's because when you use the AND operator, what it's actually going to do is return the result of that. So it was returning 1, whereas this expects us to get an actual Boolean. So let's come in there and click on register, and there we go. So we get that little error symbol. Now it knows that it has an error. Let's come back to the docs. We also want to spit out an error message. So we can do that by saying error message. And now we will be able to say errors.email. And I'm just going to grab the first error out of there. It's very unlikely you're going to have more than 2 errors, so I'm not even going to bother dealing with that. But technically, I could then say like dot, I don't know, dot concatenate the array with like a comma or something like that. But honestly, if there's only, even if there's 2 errors, I probably just want to show 1 at a time. So let's just leave it at that and see if it works. Oh, what doesn't it like there? All right, so it looks like this is being interpreted, so that line is being run, even though this has been set to false. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to say errors.email.length here. And if it is, then we'll return that, otherwise null. So I reckon that'll work all right. Let's give that a try. Okay, but then we need to check if there's errors at all. I don't want this to be messy though. I don't want to have like a whole ton of different checks. So let's see if we can find a way to write this in a way that's clean. I don't mind this. We're saying, do we have errors? Yes, we do. So let's just check if there's any related to the email. But for the error message, can I just say, do we have errors? See, technically I'd have to do something like this. Do I have errors? And any email related errors? If so, then spit out the first error, otherwise null. Yeah, you know what? We might just have to leave it at that for now. I don't know. Does anyone know a cleaner way? If so, shoot me something in the comments. But there we go. The email field is required. So that's working now. And we can start implementing this logic all over. Later on, I might even extract this. So we'll see if I can find a way to extract this to make it a little bit cleaner. So that's for email. This one's for name. And I'm pretty sure the name field is just required. Let's try this. Yep, there we go. And then for the password, we get something like password and password confirm. So let me just have a look at what that looks like. Register. Yeah, so okay, it looks like they're both related to the password. So we might just stick it underneath the password one. Let's see what happens when I do that. Yeah, okay. It would be nice if we got a response from the backend that said password and then a separate one for password confirm. Yeah. You know what, that's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick it underneath the password field and not have any errors related to the password confirm field. I think that's fine. That's still pretty obvious what's going on. All right. And then that's pretty much it for server-side errors. And I'm actually changing my mind. I might just leave it to server-side errors without bothering doing front-end errors, at least for now. Sometimes it's better to just push ahead. So now let's come in here and change that to password. And give this a try. Refresh the page. Something went wrong there. What doesn't it like? Okay, so it looks like if there's no errors, we're getting a problem there. So has errors and errors.name. So we can probably get rid of length here. I think that might actually be what's causing the problem because the length doesn't exist. If that doesn't have any errors. So let's give that a go. All right, so that works. Let's try no password there. That works. And that works as well. Cool. All right, so that's pretty much it for handling errors. But I don't like the styling now. I think what I'd like to do is basically hide it. I think there's a way of saying like, actually I know there's a way of saying hide the slots if we don't have any errors there. So let's have a look at that. Hide the helper text when field doesn't have focus. No. it also disables animation of those. It also allows Alright, so I might be able to use this, but I do kind of like that animation. So maybe there's a better way. We could just like remove a lot of the space there. Yeah, so let's move some of the margining there. I'm gonna come back here, margin bottom is equal to, let's set it just to small. Alright, so squish things in a little bit, which I think is nicer. Yeah, I think that looks okay. I think maybe a little bit more padding in there. But then I want to move on because you don't want to spend too much time on these things. So how about padding here actually? Class equals Q dash padding or actually no, the Q card section already has its own padding. So probably is a little bit more sensical for me to add it in here. Q just padding or medium. Let's have a look at that. Medium feels a little bit much for me. I'll set that to small. Yeah, okay. I'm pretty much happy with this. So now let's see if it actually works. Luke at ldball.com. All right, the email's already been taken. That's pretty cool. That's what I want though. The error handling is working. Tinker, user, query. And we're just going to delete all of the users. And let's try this again. And there we go. That's gone ahead and created the user. Next thing I want to do is make sure that, well, I kind of want to receive that user so I can change this sign up button to like a logo or just like the user's initial, something like that. So let's come in here, see if I've got a reference to that that request. We might have to send a request that actually gets the user straight afterwards. Let's try this again. All right. Register. And it's trying to redirect us to the home route, so I'm going to have to sort of deal with that as well. Oh, and that's not working because it's already thinking that I'm logged in. So I'm going to have to go to application, delete these because we don't have a logout button yet. Let's try that again. Don't know what's going on there. Right, looks like errors has been set to null for some reason. Anyway, let's just try that again. I'm going to come back here. Let's go to our register form. I want to set this to my email again by default so it's easy to work with. Make sure that user is deleted. Now we refresh the page, we should be able to easily make that user. And I wanted to watch the network requests. Cool. Oh, I've got to stop LastPass. This is very annoying. So let's jump in there. Manage extensions. And you can leave me alone for now. All right, so, I've just refreshed the page. I've got to do this again now. I'm pretty sure that register doesn't actually give us back the user that we just registered. No, it doesn't. It sends us back an empty string. So let's see if there's a, what is it? It's called like create new user for Fortify. And it's saying return user create. But we want the route itself to return the user. Where's the Fortify register controller? I think it might actually use its own controller. I prefer to not have to mess around with it. So maybe it would be better to just then fetch the user. Yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and do that. So if we go to api.php, we can just make a get request to /user to get that user. So let's go to back into register form. And then when we go to, let's go to the register button. And then we can say when the user, when this is successful, we will register that user. Show that user up here in the button, or basically save that user by making a request. What am I saying? Then we want to make a request to get the current user. So how about this? Get current user. And we're reaching a point now where I want to pull for Vux ORM, but I don't want to do that tonight, so we might call it a night soon. So we then want to say get the current user, and to do that, we use Axios. Ooh, I can feel my brain slowing down. Axios dot, and was it a post request or a get request? It's a get request to /user. So get process.env.api_URL. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. So if we jump in our .env file, yeah, there we go, API URL. And let's make that a template string. And then what I will do is go to /user. And then let's just try and console.log that user. Console.log response.data. I always spell response wrong the first time. All right, so what's going to happen is when we have a successful registration of the user using the registration form, so that event's being, that listeners will then be triggered. We will then get the current user, and that's just going to make a request to user and then console.log them. So let's see if that works for us. Register. Oh, I've added in a second slash there that we don't need. That feels weird to me. Should API URL... no, that's not good. API URL probably shouldn't have a trailing slash. All right. Yeah, that does not look right. So let's get rid of that and look for all occurrences where I've used API URL. API_URL. Here it is here. Oh, that's where I just used it then. Now in the register form, we do want to have our own slash in there. And I think that's it. Cool. All right, I'm happy with that. So now let's refresh the page. Jump into our network tab and we'll try this again and see how it pans out. Oh, of course. I now need to delete that user, refresh the page. Let's try that again. Oh, he's getting this weird CSRF. Yeah, for some reason, the cookie scene. Oh no, it's not what I thought it was. Oh, it's adding the extra slash when we're getting the sanctum cookie. I thought I fixed that. Oh, it looks like we didn't get them all. That's a markdown, so it wouldn't be in there. I've added the slash in. Oh, I changed the .env file, but I now need to restart the server so that the env file changes have been picked up on. Cool. All right, so now when that's done, we'll try this again, and hopefully this time it'll actually fetch the user. Oh, I can feel my brain slowly dying. All right, then we tried to fetch the user, but it failed, saying that we're unauthenticated. So why would it think that we're currently unauthenticated? We just registered. Let's create a button next to sign up that just fetches the user so that we can play around with this. Main layout. Otherwise, I need to call it a night. I am tired and have a rather important meeting tomorrow. Let's call this register. No, sorry. Get user at click. Get user methods. We'll create that get user method, which is pretty much the same thing as what we had before. This dot $. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna have to import Axios myself. Import Axios from Axios. Yeah, so let's change this to Axios dot get, and it's a get request to process.env.api_url/user. Okay, let's see if that works. Actually, I've just had a quick thought. CORS. Yeah, it should be working because our API is allowing requests to anything there. Okay, so why am I unable to get the user? Auth API, auth sanctum. That might fix it. And there we go. We're able to get the user. Okay, that's great. So now that means that we can sign up, get the user, and then the user is registered. What I'm actually going to do next is, and I'm not going to do it tonight, but I'll let you guys know because you might find it interesting. Next, I'm going to use a tool called Vuex ORM. There's actually a new version coming out soon, which is very exciting. I actually did a video series that covers this entire package, and it allows you to have an ORM, an object relational map, on your front end. And if that doesn't make sense to you, what it basically allows us to do is say user.or, for example, to get all of the users, or user.query, and then you could say, for example, give me the users with their comments. Or you could say give it to me with their comments and with their posts. And then you can say .get on that, and that'll give you a JSON object with your users and all of their comments. But then on top of that, you can also add all these filters. You can say like .where name is equal to Luke Diebold, and that'll just get the user whose name is Luke Diebold. And you can call get on that. And since you call get at the end, you can keep basically building up this query and then finally call get when you finish building the query. So yeah, really cool package. So the next thing I'll do is implement that. Yeah, you know what? I might actually just do it now. Why not? I haven't installed this package fresh for a while, so it'll be fun. Fun to give that a try again. So let's go ahead and add it. And go to the getting started section. Defining our models. I might throw that on the side here so I can view the docs a little more easily. And what I like to do is have my models sitting within my source directory. So let's create a new folder called models. There we go. New file, and we're going to have user.js. And here's an example model that they've got for us. So let's go ahead and create that. So it'll be called users on our database. That's like a front-end database. This is kind of like creating a MySQL table called users, but on the front end, which is really cool. And they're going to have an ID, name, and wow, these fields in the example are actually the exact fields that I need, which is kind of cool. And that's just the default value for that field. Really cool. I love this package. Yeah, so that's basically how we're going to model the data, and you can do relationships and all that kind of stuff, like it shows you here in the docs, but I'm just going to get it up and running to begin with. So let's go to the part where we register the store. There it is there. And let's import our user. Eventually I'll end up extracting this to another file. For now, let's just say source/models/user. All right. And now, yeah, we're already using Vuex. We want to make sure that we pull in Vuex ORM. And then let's come in here and install the database as well. And this is basically like, it's almost like migrating a MySQL database. That's kind of what this is doing here. But of course, since it's on the front end and not a lot of data, you can do this really fast. Can you increase the audio volume, please? Oh well, it's good to know somebody's listening. Yep. I just didn't want to get, here we go. It's a bit closer to my mouth now. I usually talk really loud when I do recordings, but my girlfriend's asleep, so I don't want to wake her up. So let me know if that's better. If not, sorry. I'll do the best that I can. Yeah, so this is where we register the database. what else? Okay, so now that we've got the database, we actually want to put our user into that database. So let's say database dot register, and then we can literally just pass that user straight through there. Okay, so set up a database, and now take that user class and throw it into that database, which means we'll now be able to create users on the front end, which is really cool. Next, we actually want to use the plugin. So let's come down here, and here's the store here. I'm pretty sure we just want to throw it right there. When I use Vuex ORM, I actually don't even need modules anymore. It completely replaces, for my use cases, the need to use Vuex modules, which is awesome. So I can literally just delete that. I never use modules anymore, which is fantastic. I find them to be quite annoying to work with. I find Vuex to be annoying to work with in general when I'm not using Vuex ORM now. All right, so this kind of shows you what that's going to look like in the store. Let's just see if it works. Come back here. Check if I've done anything wrong. Doesn't look like it. Now check this out. We go to view. Let's just go full screen here. Whoop. And if we go into Vuex and I click on here, notice that we've got this new entity section in our state. That's where all of our Vuex ORM data sits. And they've created a users section here. And then that's all the data for users, which is currently nothing. So now what we can actually do is we can take that data we got from the sign up, insert it into the store, and then throughout our entire application, we can then see whether or not we have an authenticated user, which I think is pretty cool. So let's bring this back to full screen, and let's jump into that register page. Register, where was it? It was on the main layout, I believe. Yeah, actually no, register button. We want to do this after we get that user back. So right here. Now, this is how we actually use Vuex ORM. We import user from source/model/user. You know what, let's do this properly. Let's just create an alias for that. Oh, Quasar.conf used to have alias. Oh, I might have to go into the docs to figure out how to do this. Aliases, and there's a way that we can add our own. Yeah, so if we go to the build section within quasar.conf, build, yeah, here we go. It's under extend webpack. So let's just grab everything from the inside. No, we can just replace the whole thing. So let's do this, all of that. And now I can add my own alias. So I'm going to add a models alias, and that's going to take me to source and then models. Cool. I'm going to save that. And it looks like that it doesn't like something here. Let's try restarting that server and see if it fixes that problem. Pretty sure that's how we have the alias. Yeah, the name of the alias. Oh, we're going to need to require path as well. Oops, accidentally hit Control-C instead. All right, now we've got path. That should actually work this time. Cross our fingers. And then so now that we've got that alias, I can just come in here and call models directory. It's only a tiny change, but makes a big change over the long run. All right, it's telling me user was not fine. Models user with a capital U. There we go, that's working. So now what we can do is say user.insert. So we're going to insert some user data. And then we say, hey, this is the data I want you to insert. Response.data. Really beautiful API. I think it is anyway. All right, so that's gone ahead and created the user. Let's refresh the page here. And I want to make sure that this user doesn't currently exist in the database. We'll come back over here. Whoops, press the wrong button. Sign up, register, and now we go to view, Vuex. Let's load the state. Where's the state? Here it is here. And notice under users, we actually have a user there. So there's the user that we just pulled from the database, and it's sitting within the data property of user. It's really, really handy because check this out. I can now say, we go to main layout. Have I got any computer properties? Yeah, let's have a computer property for the user, or let's say session user, so we're a little bit more specific here. And now we can return user dot, and for now I'm just going to say first because you can't have more than one user on the front end in the application's current state. But what I'll have to do is basically say when I get the user from the back end, also add a field to let me know that it is the logged in user. But I'm not going to worry about that for now. Now let's go ahead and import user from models/user. Okay, so that's being imported. Whoops, what have I done here? Session user. Yeah, so it's being imported, and then here we're just grabbing the first user, so that's going to be live data. And now I can do this. I can just spit out the name of the current session user. So where's the register button? There it is there. And I might just throw it on the right side over here. Let's get the session user's name. Cool. Let me just double check I'm doing that right. User first. Yep. You've also got other methods like user.all, and then like I mentioned before, you can do awesome querying stuff as well. So it's kind of like having a little bit of Laravel's beautiful ORM related stuff, but on the front end. First is not a function. I always thought that it was. So let's take a look in here. Yeah, I'm probably trying to do some Laravel API that I can't actually do here. Yeah, so what I might have to do is just say all and then grab the first one. Yeah. In fact, the best way to do this is probably to say user dot all. And if I do have some users, by the way, this will be super fast because it's literally just referencing an object. It looks like something that would be really slow, but it's not because it's literally just referencing that entity's object through Vuex. If I have all users, if I have any users at all, so we'll say dot length here, then user all 0. I know this feels a little bit janky. Otherwise, return null. So session user, and what I might even do here, let's make it a q dash, just anything for now. Let's make that a chip. And then we can say v-if session user. Let's come back, refresh the page, and I'm going to have to come back in here and delete that user again, so they're not logged in by default. And now let's click on, once again, I've pressed the wrong button. And there we go. So now I register and then I show up here. And what we can do is say, if there is a user in the session, don't bother showing me this register button because it doesn't make sense in that context. We can get rid of this get user button now. And very nice. I actually don't mind leaving that as a tab, as a chip. Oh, the next thing I should probably do is try and fetch the user when the application is first loaded. By the way, this get request, I'd usually sit that on the user class. In fact, let's go ahead and do that now. Why not? Man, I really should be going to bed, but hey, who's going to stop me? You're not my mum. All right. So now what we can do is say get, oh no, this could be static. So static $get. I always prefix my HTTP request with $. And then what I can do is return axios.get process, make that a template string, process.env.api_URL. So we'll grab the API URL slash user. So let's change that from get to session user. And like I said, that $ basically tells me that this is going to be a request. Yeah, it's not telling me that it's jQuery. All right, so that makes that request. And then I can say, then take that response and then user.insert and use the data from that response. And there we go. So now what you can actually do is I can do stuff like this, user.sessionUser, and that's automatically going to fetch the session user and insert them using Vuex. And on top of that, if I want to do something afterwards, this is returning an Axios promise. So I can just say .then and then do whatever I want with the response. Oh, if I return it here. Gotta make sure that's returned. Cool. So let's go ahead and save that and see if it actually works. And we're going to just sort of do something janky for now by saying when this is mounted, I'll clean this up later, which is what every coder said ever. And now we can say user.$session user. So get me the session user. And if that fails, it's going to be a silent failure, so it won't actually be a big deal. So let's refresh the page, and it's actually getting that user now. So now it can actually tell that I'm logged in when I refresh the page. And if I come up here, delete that user, refresh the page, then now it gives me the sign up button instead. So let's click on sign up. In fact, let's do this. Let's make it, because that's going to be loading by default. If I'm already logged in, I don't want someone to accidentally click on the sign up button for whatever reason. So let's have nothing here by default and wait until we fetch the user. And if the fetch fails, we'll show the sign up button. Otherwise, we won't show it. So let's have a data property here. Do I not have any data property? Oh, yeah, here we go. And what will we call this? So we want to know, have I fetched the session user yet? So maybe like has requested session user. Session user. Feels a bit lengthy, but I'm doing a live stream, so I don't want to sit here and think about it for the next 2 hours. Oh, dropped my phone. Fell out of my pajama pockets. All right. Okay, what am I doing? Come on, brain. Just give me a little bit longer. Let's get this done, then you can go to bed. So has requested session user. That's going to be false by default. And then what we'll do is we'll make a request to get the session user. And then .then. I'm going to say this dot has requested session user is equal to true. And if we have an error, we're going to actually do the same thing. So this is often something I do. I use the error as a way of just checking if the user is currently logged in. There might be a better way to do that, but honestly, it kind of works. So who's going to stop me? All right, so both these cases, we're setting that to true. Now, next thing I want to do is nothing. Actually, that's it. Yeah, cool. That's it. So now we can come up here and let's create a spinner. Coding in pajamas. Yep, that's me to a T. Mate A. You know, that's often how we spell mate in Australia, just M8 when we're text messaging people. Just M8. Such a common term for us that we've shortened it. I don't know if that's an Australian thing or all over the world, but anywho. All right, so I'm going to hide them for now because I just want to test what a spinner would look like. Of course, it's available to us because Quasar's unfreaking believably awesome. Just gives you everything you need straight away. Q-spinner. What am I doing wrong here? Let's set it to a primary color. Yep, there we go. It's a bit small. So let's say size is equal to 22 pixels. It's probably got to be bigger than that. Oh, no. I think that's actually pretty good. 24. Let's try that. Nice. Okay. So now when we're on a slow network, we get that spinner up there that's basically saying we're checking if you're logged in or not. If the user, and by the way, this will only be visible if we do not have the requested session user. And now I can uncomment that, wrap the whole thing in a div, and then say here v-if we have requested for the user, then we're going to run those checks. What's this? You can do it in the callback. Oh, that's super helpful. Okay, so I should be able to say finally, is what you're saying. I remember I stopped using that because it wasn't working for me for some reason. And so I completely forgot about trying to use it anymore. What will I get from finally? You know what? Let's check. Thing. And now let's console.log thing. Dude, this is going to make my day if it actually works. Absolute legend. So what am I doing now? Waiting for my brain to catch up. Oh, that was on the refresh page one, wasn't it? Okay, so it looks like finally isn't getting anything. That's probably because I'm not actually returning anything in either of these situations. And I'm curious to know what happens, what I get out of there. So my guess is it's going to return me the response. It's going to pass the response through to finally. Nope, it doesn't, but that's totally fine. We can come in here, and let's just check that is what's logging here. Yeah, dude, you're a legend. Thank you for pointing that out. That's awesome. I can get rid of that. I can get rid of that. Oh, mate. And I can get rid of that. Oh, so much cleaner. Nice. Okay, so now we refresh the page. Notice we've got that little spinner here, and let's change the network to slow 3G. Maybe that's going to be too slow. And let's see if we get that spinner. Oh God, too slow. Hey! Oh, that's so cool. I'm really happy with that. I'm really happy with that. And now if I log out, so let's delete the user, refresh the page. Oh gosh, we got to bring it back to online. Whoops. No throttling. Let's just refresh it again. All right, so now we've got the sign up button. We sign up, register, and there we go. We show up straight away with the registered user. Obviously, I'm going to change that. I think having it as a chip is a bit ridiculous. I'll just do it now. God, I'm so bad. I really should go to bed. You guys, adding comments to the video, encouraging me to stay up. It's your fault. I'm going to blame you. All right, what am I doing? Wake up, Luke. We want to change this from a chip to a Q dash, I think, avatar. Actually, it'll probably end up being a button. So let's just make it a button for now. That'll have a menu where you can log out and do all that kind of stuff. Which is so easy with Quasar, by the way. You can just say Q dash menu and then Q dash list and then Q dash item and then just have like, gives you lots of control, which is why it's kind of less nested like that. And we can just make this clickable. And all right, let's get back to the thing I was actually supposed to do now. Okay, so this is going to be if we have got a session user. And then let's copy that. And let's set the label of this equal to, let's just grab the first letter of that. What's a quick way to get like the first letter in a string? Can I do this? If I have Luke, can I say 0? Oh, mate, that's so easy. Piece of cake. And so now the label can be just the first element of that string. Okay, so we got the button now. Did that actually work? Let's refresh it. Yeah, it might be because might have to set the color of this equal to something like primary. There we go, L, and then of course we want this to be rounded. Oh man, and then I'll use something like Gravatar, the Vue Gravatar plugin to just grab their Gravatar if I'd like to. And that's a menu now. So look, check that out. Once I've got log out implement, oh, let's just do it. Don't tell anyone that I'm staying up and doing this. Log out. You guys won't tell, will you? All right, it's console.log, log out. I think you can just add a click straight onto it like that. Yep. And then I think I want to add like some sort of an auto close to the menu. Oh, I'll do that later. Then I should be able to say this dot axio. Oh no. No, you do it this way. You'd say user dot $ log out like that. That'd be super clean. And then actually I don't have to do anything. I'll do everything behind the scenes with user. You know what? Let me just show you what I mean. We can then come in here and say static $log out. Oh man, my ears are hurting from wearing these headphones. I'm gonna rearrange a bit. Let me know if you can't hear me properly anymore. Just had to take the headphones off. They were killing me. Okay, so logout is going to do an Axios request as well. Is it get request? I don't know. Let's set it into Quasar cast, set it into API, and then we can say art route list. And let's make a condensed version. There's our logout route. So it's a post to just /logout. Of course, Laravel's made it ridiculously simple. And then if that is successful, we basically want to delete all of the users. So can I say user.delete all? Oh, nice. Nice type hinting there. And then we'll just return the response. I think that's it. I think I just built it. And nope, didn't work. Oh, I just said that it was a post route, and then I wrote get. Come on, Luke. Refresh the page. Refresh the page. Ah! Oh, how cool. Okay, let's refresh the page and check if it works. How unbelievably cool is that? Now we actually need a login form. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous that we've gotten this far without a login form, but look, I've really got to go to bed. I've actually got a meeting with, I probably shouldn't tell you who it is, but someone who's like really cool in the podcasting industry. I'm super excited to have a chat with him tomorrow morning and possibly be getting some coaching, if it makes sense. So let's see if that works. Register, there I am, refresh the page, there I still am, log out. Come on, that's pretty beautiful. And I've done like nothing. I feel like I'm cheating. Quasar and Laravel just did all of the work for me. And I just kind of just like did some little bits and pieces to style it. That's what it feels like these days. When I'm using Laravel and Quasar, I honestly just feel like most of the time I'm just stitching it together and making it look cool. It's like even styling, I almost don't even worry about anymore. Everything's just obvious. Just do material design stuff, and you might try a couple of things with the buttons and it just works out. Like I might, for example, register button. I might want to say instead of unelevated, outlined. Refresh the page, or is it outlined singular? Yeah, might just be outline. Like, how cool is that? That's pretty cool. That this is just so easy to do. In fact, it might make more sense to make this flat. Sign up. No, I like outline. Anyway, I'm going to call it a night. Thank you, everybody who showed up for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. And in the next one, actually, let me just show you something I've been working on. I'm super excited about. If you go to /register, let me just come back here and delete the user again. I've been working on, like, when I start going on podcasts and I'm just about to start a new show called the Quasar Show. When I start doing all of that, then we need to start sending people to a page where they can register for Quasarcast. Good news, mate. Thank you for the stream. Might try Vuex. So yeah, totally check it out. It's awesome. But yeah, anyway, I needed a page that people could land on to register. So now I've got this here where you enter all of your details, click on register, and then I ask you this question. If I can make one video just for you, what would you like to learn? So that way I can get, do they have persistent API? What do you mean by persistent API? Let me know what you mean. Like, this is probably just something lacking in my knowledge. Persistent API? Java persistent API. Oh, that might be something different. Oh, okay. In a relational database. I wouldn't know how to answer that question, to be honest. Yeah, okay. Anyway, yeah, so basically I asked this question, so, using Quasar with Firebase, which everyone wants to know about. Next, and then I'm basically going to have a video here that says, like, thanks for signing up. Here's a few things you can do next to get more involved in the Quasar community. So stuff like this. I'm going to have a chatbot that people can sign up to where I send like little Quasar tips every week. Or maybe even like some links to videos that are really popular. So if a video gets really popular for whatever reason, I might send it out on the chatbot just to be like, hey, this is unusually popular. You might want to check it out too. Of course, a link to the Discord community, and then a way for people to donate to Quasar, which I think is really important. Who are they? Well, I think the comments are a bit delayed, so I'm not sure what that question refers to. Do they have persistent API in the front end like Vuex persist? No, but it's funny you say that. I'm actually working on a project at the moment where I want to be able to use Vuex ORM to persist to local storage and persist to session storage. So I want to kind of build an API on top of that. It's actually not as simple as a lot of people might think. Like, there's actually quite a few difficult decisions you have to make. Like, do I just throw the entire database? Do I like throw all of my data into the storage all at once and just hope that as my store gets bigger and bigger and bigger, every single time I make a request, I have to throw it straight into the store again, and that becomes a very big task, especially since you have to like JSON.stringify it, which is pretty fast, but I don't think it's actually that fast when you're dealing with massive amounts of data. And so then the question becomes, well, can I start keying my data, like having keys for my data so that I can store it in very specific places? But it then becomes hard to delete all of your local storage. In fact, I don't know if you even can clear all of your local storage. But as you can imagine, if you can't clear your storage and you've got some sort of floating around keys sitting in your local storage, that could actually be a security issue in terms of logging out. So local storage is actually kind of a complicated issue. Well, they're the problems that I've run into in the past, like figuring out how you'd actually do that. Let's just have a look at this. But once I solve that problem, I'd love to create a plugin. Like, I imagined an API kind of like this. What if you could say user dot $, I don't know, comments, to get all of that user's comments, and then it adds it into the object relational map, so into the ORM. But then what if you could do other stuff like this? What if you could say persist is equal to true, or persist is equal to session or local, and then it persists it into local storage. And because Vuex ORM follows so many conventions, we might actually be able to do that. So I'm really effing excited at the prospect of making that possible. So yeah, it's funny you bring that up. It's a problem that I'm currently trying to solve, but I haven't yet. Yeah, but let's just look at the local storage API. Is there like a delete all? Can you delete all from local storage? from local storage. How to remove and clear all local storage data. Oh, looks like you can. Okay, that's awesome because that means you could just say log out, clear the local storage, and that kind of solves that issue. Yeah, you know what? Let me just quickly map this out. Oh, no, I can't. I've really got to go to bed. But like I said, what I'm imagining is having it so that you put in the local storage something that's keyed like this. Maybe it would be comments and then an array of all the comments. You could do it that way in local storage, like that's the key, and then that's the data itself. Or you could do it like this. You could say comments dot and then the ID of that comment, like 14. And then every individual comment, as you update things, delete them, and all that kind of stuff, that could actually happen per individual comment, which, as you can imagine, would be super, super fast. Like, that completely solves the speed issue. Because I know what a lot of people are doing is dumping their entire storage, whereas if you do it this way, you don't have to do that anymore. So, I've really got to go to bed. It's 12:22 over here, and I've got to be up by 9, which I know that doesn't sound like like a lot of sleep, but I have a lot of difficulty sleeping at night. And it's probably because I'm up late doing live streams, staring at a screen. But I got my glasses on. I've got my blue light glasses, so hopefully that's going to help. But anyway, thank you so much everyone for sticking along with me. I had a blast building this working on this app with you guys. And yeah, I'll see you next time.